Chosen one, stop everything. Yes, you. Pause where you are. Let the noise of the world fade and lean into this moment. Because this is not just another message. This is a divine summons, a sacred whisper from the heavens that has your name written in light. God says your big moments are already marked, etched into the eternal scroll of His plan, and they're unfolding now. Do you feel it? That stirring in your soul, that quiet pull telling you something greater is waiting. This is no accident. You were led here to this very second because the Creator of the universe has a message that cannot wait. Your destiny is not a distant dream, it's a divine appointment, and the clock is ticking. Get ready now, because the life you've been praying for, the breakthrough you've been craving, the purpose you've sensed in your bones, it's all coming together, and heaven is watching to see how you'll respond. Picture a golden hourglass, its sands shimmering with divine purpose, each grain a moment God has prepared for you. Those sleepless nights, those tears you shed in silence, those questions that echoed in your heart, none of them were wasted. Every struggle was a stepping stone, every doubt a refining fire, every closed door a redirection to the path you were always meant to walk. You've been through the wilderness, chosen one, but you weren't wandering, you were being shaped. God was carving His vision into your spirit, preparing you for moments so big they'll shift not just your life but the lives of those around you. Psalm 139:16 declares, "Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." Your big moments are not random. They're ordained, and they're breaking through the horizon like the dawn. But let's be real, life hasn't always felt like a divine setup, has it? You've faced fear that gripped your heart like a vice, whispering lies that you're not enough, that your dreams are too big, that your past disqualifies you. Maybe you're staring at a bank account that mocks your faith, or relationships that drain your hope, or a job that feels like a cage. You've wondered, God, where are you? When will my moment come? I see you, chosen one, and so does heaven. Those struggles aren't signs of abandonment, they're evidence of your assignment. The enemy doesn't attack what's insignificant. He targets what's anointed. Your fears, your setbacks, your silent battles. They're not the end of your story. They're the keys to your greatest breakthroughs. Because this video unveils a truth that will set you free. Your deepest fears are the very doorways to your divine provision. Imagine a radiant door with your name carved in gold, standing in the middle of a stormy night. On the other side lies your prosperous life. Abundance, peace, purpose, everything God promised. But the handle is forged from the fears you've been avoiding. That fear of failure, of rejection, of stepping out. It's not a barrier. It's the material God is using to unlock your destiny. Every time you faced a challenge and kept going, you were turning that handle. Every time you prayed through tears, you were pushing that door open. And now God is saying, enough. It's time to step through. Your big moments are marked, and they're not waiting for a perfect you. They're waiting for a faithful you. Romans 8:28 assures us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Your calling is calling, chosen one. Are you ready to answer? Let me tell you about Sarah, a single mother I heard about from a small town in Ohio. She was drowning in debt, working 2 jobs, and barely sleeping, wondering if God had forgotten her. Her fear of financial ruin was paralyzing. But one night, in desperation, she wrote down a simple goal: to start a small baking business from her kitchen. It wasn't grand, but it was hers. She faced her fear of failure, took a leap, and posted her homemade cookies on social media. Within weeks, orders poured in, not because she was a master marketer, but because her faith met God's provision. A local church ordered hundreds for an event. A stranger became a mentor, and soon her business was funding her freedom. Sarah's story isn't a fairy tale. It's a testimony of what happens when you face your fear and step into God's plan. Her big moment was marked, and so is yours. So, what's holding you back? Maybe it's the fear of being seen, of failing publicly, or of trusting again after betrayal. But here's the truth. Fear is not your enemy. It's your invitation. God doesn't remove fear. He equips you to walk through it. Your spiritual awakening is on the other side of that trembling step. Your divine purpose is waiting for you to say yes, not when you feel ready, but now. This is your faith journey, and it's not about perfection. It's about persistence. You don't need a flawless plan or a fat bank account. You need a heart that trusts God's timing and a soul that dares to move. Picture yourself standing on a cliff's edge, the wind of heaven at your back and a vast valley of possibility below. Your big moments are down there, marked by God's hand, and all it takes is one brave leap. Here's where practicality meets faith, chosen one. I'm going to give you 4 specific steps to step into your divine moment. 4 actions you can take today to align with God's plan. First, write down one bold goal for this week. It doesn't have to be huge. Maybe it's applying for a job or forgiving someone who hurt you. Put it on paper, make it real, and pray over it. Second, call or message someone you've been avoiding. Maybe it's a friend you need to reconcile with, or a mentor who can guide you. That conversation could be the spark God uses. Third, start one project you've been delaying. It could be a side hustle, a journal, or a prayer routine. Just take the first step. Fourth, declare your faith out loud every morning. Say, I am chosen, I am ready, my big moments are here. These aren't just tasks, they're prophetic acts that tell heaven you're serious. If this message is stirring your soul, chosen one, I invite you to join our community of believers by supporting this channel through Super Thanks. Your gift helps us spread the message of divine provision to more souls like you, lighting the path to their prosperous lives. Let's keep this movement growing, because God's plan is bigger than any one of us. Now, imagine a scroll unfurling in heaven, its edges glowing with the promises God wrote for you before time began. Every fear you face, every step you take, is bringing you closer to those promises. But what if the fear you're running from is the very bridge to your personal transformation? That scroll in heaven, chosen one, isn't just a list of promises. It's a living blueprint, pulsating with the rhythm of your divine purpose. Every line on it was written with intention, every moment marked with precision, and God is inviting you to step into its unfolding now. You might be thinking, but I've tried before. I've stepped out and it didn't work. Maybe you launched a dream and it stalled, or you trusted someone and they let you down. Those moments weren't failures, they were rehearsals. God was teaching you resilience, sharpening your discernment, and aligning your heart with His timing. Picture a master sculptor chiseling away at a block of marble. Each strike that felt like a setback was actually shaping you into the masterpiece you were always meant to be. Isaiah 64:8 says, "Yet you, Lord, are our Father. We are the clay, you are the potter. We are all the work of your hand. Your big moments are marked, and the potter is ready to reveal his work in you." Let's talk about what those big moments look like, because they're not always what you expect. You might be waiting for a lottery win, a grand stage, or a viral moment, but God's breakthroughs often start small, like seeds buried in the dark. They show up as a quiet opportunity, a sudden idea, or a stranger's kindness that changes everything. Think of David, a shepherd boy overlooked by his own family, yet anointed as king in a field with only sheep as witnesses. His big moment wasn't the crown. It was the moment he said yes to God's call, sling in hand, facing a giant. Your giant might be a fear of starting over, a dream that feels too big, or a wound that still stings. But when you face it, chosen one, that's when the heavens shift. Your spiritual awakening doesn't need a spotlight. It needs your courage to act in the quiet. How? Imagine a river, its waters sparkling under a golden sun, flowing steadily toward a vast ocean. That river is your faith journey, and every choice you make is a current pushing you closer to your prosperous life. But here's the catch. Fear can dam that river, blocking the abundance God has planned. Maybe you're afraid of what people will think if you step out, or you're scared of losing what little security you have. Those fears are real, but they're also illusions, shadows cast by a world that doesn't understand your divine assignment. Jesus said in John 16:33, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." Your fears don't have the final word. God does, and He's saying your big moments are already secured. Let me share a story about Marcus, a man I heard about from a community in Atlanta. Marcus was a graphic designer stuck in a dead-end job, his creativity stifled by a boss who didn't value him. He dreamed of starting his own design studio, but was paralyzed by the fear of financial failure. One day, after a particularly tough week, he followed a simple nudge. He wrote down his goal to create a portfolio website. That small act led him to reconnect with an old college friend who needed branding for a startup. That project became Marcus's first client, and within months, his side hustle outgrew his day job. Marcus didn't have a business degree or a big budget. He had faith and a single step. His fear of lack was the doorway to his divine provision, and God met him there. Your story might not look like Marcus's, but the principle is the same. Your big moments start when you move, not when you're certain. Those 4 steps I gave you, writing a goal, reaching out to someone, starting a project, declaring your faith, they're not just actions. They're keys to unlock the overflow God has stored up for you. Don't overcomplicate it, chosen one. You don't need to know the whole path to take the first step. Picture yourself planting a seed in fertile soil, trusting that the sun and rain will do their work. Each step you take is a seed, and God is the gardener, ensuring it grows into a harvest of overflowing blessings. But you have to plant. You have to trust. You have to move past the fear that says, "What if it doesn't work?" and embrace the faith that says, "What if it does?" Your personal transformation is waiting on the other side of that choice. If this message is igniting a fire in your spirit, chosen one, type "I am ready for my big moments" in the comments below. Let heaven see your declaration. Let the community of believers rally around you, and let your own soul hear your commitment. This is more than a comment. It's a prophetic act, a signal to the universe that you're stepping into your divine destiny. Now imagine a lighthouse standing tall on a rocky shore, its beam cutting through the darkest storm. That's you, chosen one. Your life, your choices, your faith. They're a beacon, not just for you, but for others lost in their own storms. Your big moments aren't just about your breakthrough. They're about the lives you'll touch, the hope you'll spark, the legacy you'll build. But what about the voices that try to dim your light? You know the ones. Maybe it's a family member who doubts your dreams, a friend who calls your faith unrealistic, or even your own inner critic replaying past mistakes. Those voices aren't your truth. They're noise. God's voice is the one that matters, and He's saying you are chosen, you are enough, your time is now. Picture those doubts as clouds passing over a clear sky. They might obscure the sun for a moment, but they can't stop its light. Your divine purpose is that sun, and no cloud of fear or criticism can extinguish it. Ephesians 2:10 reminds us, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." Your big moments are part of that plan, prepared long before you faced today's challenges. Let's get practical again, because faith without action is like a song without a melody. Those 4 steps, write a goal, reach out, start a project, declare your faith, are your roadmap. But they're not a one-time checklist. They're a rhythm, a way of living that keeps you aligned with God's flow. Maybe this week your goal is to save $50.00 toward a dream. Maybe your outreach is a text to a colleague who could collaborate on your vision. Maybe your project is sketching one page of that book you've always wanted to write. And every morning, when you declare, "I am chosen, I am ready," you're not just speaking, you're reshaping your reality. These steps are simple, but simplicity is where miracles begin. Think of the widow in 2 Kings 4, who had nothing but a jar of oil. Her small act of obedience, gathering jars, unlocked a miracle of abundance. Your small acts are just as powerful. Imagine a tapestry woven with threads of gold, each strand representing a moment of your life, your joys, your pains, your victories, your fears. From a distance, it's a breathtaking work of art, every thread essential to the design. That's how God sees your life, chosen one. The moments you thought were mistakes, they're threads of grace. The fears you faced, they're strands of strength. Your big moments are the patterns emerging now, revealing the beauty of God's plan. But to see the tapestry, you have to step back from the fear that's kept you focused on a single thread. Your wealth creation, your financial freedom, your overflowing blessings, they're not separate from your struggles. They're born from them, woven by a God who wastes nothing. What if the fear you're wrestling with right now isn't a sign to stop, but a signal to soar? What if the uncertainty you feel is the wind beneath your wings, lifting you toward the destiny God has marked for you? Your big moments are closer than you think, chosen one, and they're waiting for you to claim them with bold, unwavering faith. That wind beneath your wings, chosen one, is not a fleeting breeze. It's the breath of heaven, carrying you toward a destiny so vast it defies your imagination. You've felt it, haven't you? Those moments when a spark of hope flickered in your chest, when a dream felt so real you could almost touch it, when a quiet voice whispered, "This is who you're meant to be." That's not wishful thinking. That's divine intelligence at work, aligning your spirit with the eternal rhythm of God's plan. Your big moments are not just marked, they're magnetic, drawing you closer with every step you take, every fear you face, every prayer you breathe. Picture yourself as a star in a midnight sky, its light hidden by clouds of doubt and distraction. But now, the clouds are parting, and your brilliance is about to shine for all to see. God is saying, now is your time, get ready. Let's pause and consider what getting ready really means, because it's not about having all the answers or a perfect plan. It's about posture, positioning your heart, mind, and actions to receive the abundance God has prepared. You might be thinking, but I'm not qualified. I don't have the resources, the connections, or the confidence. Chosen one, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Look at Moses, a man with a stutter and a past, standing before a burning bush. He didn't feel ready to lead a nation, but God saw the leader within him. Exodus 4:12 says, "Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." Your big moments don't depend on your credentials. They depend on your willingness to trust the one who's already paved the way. Your prosperous life is waiting, not for a better version of you, but for the you who says yes today, now. Imagine a treasure chest buried deep in the earth, its surface worn, but its contents gleaming with divine provision. Ideas, opportunities, relationships, peace. That chest is your destiny, and the fears you've been carrying are the soil covering it. Every time you face a fear, you're digging closer to that treasure. Maybe it's the fear of speaking your truth, of leaving a toxic environment, or of investing in a vision that feels too big. Each shovel of courage uncovers more of what God has hidden for you. Let me tell you about Leela, a woman from a coastal town in Oregon. She was a teacher, exhausted by a system that undervalued her, but she dreamed of opening a community art studio. Her fear of financial instability kept her stuck for years. One day she followed a simple nudge. She wrote down her vision and shared it with a colleague. That colleague connected her to a local grant program, and within months Lila's studio was a reality. Not because she had millions, but because she trusted God with her small step. Her fear was the soil, and her faith was the shovel. What's your shovel, chosen one? What fear can you dig through today? Those 4 steps: writing a goal, reaching out, starting a project, declaring your faith, are your tools for this season. They're not random tasks. They're divine instructions, like the ones God gave Noah to build the ark before the rain came. Noah didn't wait for the storm to start hammering. He moved in faith. Your goal might be to enroll in a course that scares you. Your outreach could be an email to someone who inspires you. Your project might be organizing your finances to reflect your trust in God's provision. And your daily declaration, I am chosen, I am ready, is the hammer that drives the nails of faith into your future. These steps are your ark, chosen one, and they're building a vessel for the overflow of blessings God has promised. But what happens when the world tries to pull you back? You know those moments when a cynical comment stings, when a setback feels personal, when the weight of expectations makes you question your path. Picture those challenges as waves crashing against a rocky shore. They're loud, they're forceful, but they can't move the rock. You are that rock, anchored in God's purpose. Psalm 62:6 says, "Truly he is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress, I will not be shaken." Your big moments are unshakable because they're rooted in a God who never wavers. The world's noise can't drown out heaven's whisper, and the enemy's schemes can't derail what God has ordained. Your spiritual awakening is not fragile. It's fortified by divine strength. Let's talk about the people in your life, because they're part of this journey too. Some are lighthouses, guiding you toward your destiny with encouragement and wisdom. Others are anchors, holding you back with doubt or drama. This is where discernment comes in, chosen one. You don't have to cut everyone off, but you do have to choose who gets access to your sacred space. Imagine your heart as a garden, blooming with the seeds of your divine purpose. Not everyone deserves to walk through that garden. Some will trample the flowers while others will water them. Your job is to guard your garden while staying open to the divine connections God is sending. Maybe it's a mentor who sees your potential, a friend who prays with you, or a stranger whose words shift your perspective. These connections are part of your big moments, orchestrated by a God who knows exactly who you need. If this message is resonating deep in your soul, chosen one, type, "My big moments are unfolding now," in the comments below. Let this be your bold declaration, a signal to heaven and to this community that you're claiming your divine destiny. Your words are powerful. They're a spark that can ignite a movement of faith. Now, picture a bridge stretching across a vast canyon, its planks glowing with the light of God's promises. Each step you take across that bridge is a choice to trust, to move, to believe. On the other side lies your financial freedom, your peace, your purpose. But the bridge is narrow, and fear is the wind trying to push you off. Your faith is what keeps you steady, chosen one, and every step is bringing you closer to the life God designed. What's on the other side of that bridge? It's not just material wealth, though God's provision includes that. It's clarity that cuts through confusion, joy that bubbles up without reason, and a legacy that outlives you. Imagine your life as a riverbed, once dry but now filling with the waters of abundance. That's what your big moments are. Waters of divine strategy, favor and opportunity rushing in to fill the places that felt empty for so long. But you have to keep walking. You have to keep trusting. You have to believe that the God who marked these moments is faithful to bring them to pass. Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see." Your faith is the currency of your prosperous life, and it's buying you a future that fear could never afford. Now, let's get real about the waiting. You've been in seasons where God felt silent, where your prayers seemed to bounce off the ceiling, where the promise felt like a mirage. Those seasons weren't punishment, they were preparation. Think of a seed buried in the dark, pressed by the weight of the earth. It doesn't sprout overnight, but every moment in the dark is strengthening its roots. Your waiting has been rooting you, chosen one, grounding you in a faith that can withstand the storms of success. Your big moments need a strong foundation, and God has been building that in you, layer by layer, tear by tear, prayer by prayer. When the breakthrough comes, and it's coming, it won't uproot you, because you're ready to carry the weight of glory. Imagine standing on a mountaintop, the air crisp, the view endless. Below you, the valleys of your past stretch out. Every struggle, every fear, every moment you thought you wouldn't make it. From this height, they look small, don't they? That's the perspective God is giving you now, chosen one. A higher vantage point, a clearer vision of your divine purpose. Your big moments are not just events, they're revelations, showing you who you've always been. But to stay on that mountaintop, you have to keep climbing, keep trusting, keep moving through the fears that try to pull you back. What if the next step you take is the one that changes everything? What if the dream you've buried is the seed God is waiting to water? That seed God is waiting to water, chosen one, is not just a dream. It's a divine mandate, a calling woven into the fabric of your soul before the stars were hung. You've carried it through every storm, every doubt, every moment when the world tried to convince you to settle for less. Picture it as a tiny ember glowing in your chest, untouched by the chaos around you, pulsing with the promise of a fire that could light up nations. Your big moments are the sparks that will ignite that ember. And God is saying, now is the time to fan it into flame. You're not just stepping into personal transformation, you're stepping into a legacy that will ripple through generations. 2 Timothy 1:6 says, "For this reason I remind you to fan into flame the gift of God which is in you." Your gift, your purpose, your destiny, it's ready to burn brightly, but it starts with your choice to act, to trust, to move. Let's talk about movement. Because your big moments aren't waiting for you to feel brave. They're waiting for you to take the next step, even if your knees are shaking. Imagine a vast desert, the sand stretching endlessly under a blazing sun. In the distance, there's an oasis, its waters shimmering with divine provision, its palms heavy with the fruit of your prosperous life. The path to that oasis is marked, but it's not paved. It's a trail you carve with every decision to keep going. Each step through the heat, each moment you push past the mirage of fear brings you closer to the abundance God has prepared. Your faith journey isn't about sprinting to the finish line, it's about walking with purpose, trusting that every footprint is a declaration of God's faithfulness. Now let's get honest about the desert moments. The times when you've felt parched, when your dreams seemed like delusions, when the weight of waiting made you question if God was even listening. Those moments weren't meant to break you, they were meant to build you. Think of a diamond formed under crushing pressure, its beauty born from the very forces that tried to destroy it. Your trials have been shaping you into something unbreakable, chosen one, a vessel capable of carrying the weight of God's glory. I heard about a man named Javier from a small town in Texas who lost his job during a recession and faced the fear of providing for his family. In his lowest moment, he followed a simple prompting. He started volunteering at a local food bank. That act of faith connected him to a business owner who saw his work ethic and offered him a partnership. Javier's desert became his diamond, not because he had a grand plan, but because he trusted God with his next step. Your desert is just as fertile, chosen one. What step can you take today? Those 4 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, starting a project, declaring your faith, are your compass in this desert. They're not just actions, they're sacred rhythms that keep you aligned with heaven's frequency. Maybe your goal this week is to create a budget that reflects your trust in God's provision. Maybe your outreach is a conversation with a family member who needs your encouragement as much as you need theirs. Maybe your project is planting a literal seed, a garden, a blog post, a sketch, that symbolizes your commitment to growth. And when you declare, "I am chosen, I am ready," you're not just speaking, you're prophesying over your future, calling forth the divine strategy that will guide your path. These steps are your lifeline, chosen one, and they're turning your desert into a wellspring. But what about the mirages, the temptations that try to lure you off course? You know them, the promise of quick fixes, the allure of comfort zones, the voices that say, "Stay safe, don't risk it." Picture those mirages as shadows cast by a flickering fire, tempting you to chase illusions instead of the true oasis. The world will offer you shortcuts, chosen one, but God offers you substance. Proverbs 3, 5 and 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." Your big moments are on the straight path, not the detour. When you're tempted to settle, to shrink, to hide, remember that your divine purpose is worth the journey. Your wealth creation, your financial freedom, your overflowing blessings, they're not found in the mirage, but in the mission God has marked for you. Let's talk about the people you'll meet on this path, because your big moments aren't solitary. They're shared. Imagine a caravan crossing the desert, its travelers bound by a common goal, their stories interwoven like threads in a sacred cloth. Some in your caravan will be kindred spirits, their presence like cool water in the heat, refreshing your soul with understanding and faith. Others will be passers-by, their skepticism or indifference testing your resolve. And a few might try to steer you off course, their words like sand in your eyes. Your job is to discern who belongs in your caravan, chosen one. Surround yourself with those who see the oasis, who speak life into your vision, who walk with integrity when the path gets tough. These divine connections are part of God's plan, handpicked to help you carry the abundance He's releasing. If this message is stirring your spirit, chosen one, type, "I am walking my marked path" in the comments below. Let this be your bold proclamation, a beacon to heaven and this community that you're committed to your divine destiny. Your voice matters. It's a thread in the tapestry of believers rising together. Now imagine a starry night. The sky above your desert ablaze with constellations. Each star a promise God has spoken over your life. Those stars aren't random, they form a map guiding you toward your big moments. Every fear you face, every step you take, is aligning you with that celestial design. Your spiritual awakening is not a single event, it's a constellation of moments, each one revealing more of who God created you to be. But what about the weight of the journey? You've carried burdens, grief, rejection, uncertainty, that made the path feel heavier than it should. Those burdens aren't your identity, chosen one. They're your training. Picture a runner preparing for a marathon, her muscles aching from the miles she's logged. That ache isn't weakness, it's strength in the making. Your burdens have been building your endurance, teaching you to run with purpose, to carry the blessings God is pouring out without stumbling. Matthew 11:28 says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Your big moments include rest, chosen one, not the absence of effort, but the presence of peace that lets you move without striving. Let's talk about the vision you carry, because it's more than a dream. It's a divine download, a glimpse of the prosperous life God has prepared. Maybe it's a business that empowers others, a book that heals hearts, a family restored by your love. Whatever it is, it's bigger than you, and that's why it scares you. Imagine that vision as a mosaic, its pieces scattered across your life. Every skill you've learned, every lesson you've endured, every connection you've made. Your job is to start gathering those pieces, trusting that God will fit them together. Your 4 steps are the glue. Write the vision, reach out for support, start building, declare its reality. Don't wait for the whole picture to make sense. Start with the piece in your hand, and God will reveal the rest. What if the fear you're feeling right now is not a warning, but a welcome? What if it's the threshold of your next big moment, inviting you to cross into a life where abundance flows, where purpose thrives, where God's promises become your reality? That threshold you're standing on, chosen one, is not just a line in the sand. It's a sacred boundary, a divine demarcation between the life you've known and the life God has destined for you. Picture it as a shimmering veil, woven with threads of light, each strand pulsing with the promises of your divine purpose. On the other side lies a landscape of overflowing blessings, clarity that silences confusion, favor that opens doors, and peace that anchors your soul. But crossing that threshold requires you to release something. The fear that's been your companion for too long. Not because it's evil, but because it's no longer necessary. Your big moments are marked, and they're calling you to step forward with a heart unburdened by what was, ready to embrace what is. Jeremiah 29:11 declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Your future is on the other side of that veil. Will you walk through? Let's talk about what it means to walk through fear, because it's not about being fearless, it's about being faithful. Imagine a child learning to swim, her toes gripping the edge of the pool, her heart racing at the thought of the deep end. The water looks daunting, but her father's arms are outstretched, his voice steady. "Jump, I've got you." That's God with you right now, chosen one. Your fears of failure, of judgment, of the unknown are the deep end, but God's arms are stronger than any current. Your faith journey is that jump, not a reckless leap, but a trusting one. Every time you've faced a fear and kept going, maybe speaking up when you wanted to stay silent, or trying again after a setback, you were jumping. and every jump has brought you closer to the prosperous life God has marked for you. Now, let's get real about the voices that try to hold you back, because they're not always external. Sometimes the loudest critic is the one in your head, replaying old stories of not enough. Maybe it's the memory of a time you failed, or a wound from someone who didn't see your worth. Picture those thoughts as old letters, yellowed and brittle, stuffed in a drawer you rarely open. They're real, but they're not relevant. God is writing a new letter, chosen one, and it's addressed to you. Its words are bold. You are chosen. You are capable. Your big moments are now. I heard about a woman named Aisha from a city in Georgia who spent years believing she wasn't smart enough to start her own catering business. Her fear stemmed from a teacher who once called her average. But one day, Aisha wrote down her dream and shared it with a neighbor who happened to need catering for a wedding. That single order led to a flood of clients, not because Aisha was suddenly gifted, but because she trusted God over her old story. What old letter can you burn today, chosen one? Those 4 steps. Writing a goal, reaching out, starting a project, declaring your faith, are your pen for writing a new story. They're not just tasks, they're declarations of trust, each one a sentence in the narrative God is crafting with you. Maybe your goal is to dedicate 1 hour this week to learning a new skill. Maybe your outreach is a message to a community leader who can amplify your vision. Maybe your project is creating a vision board that captures your dreams in vivid color. And when you declare, "I am chosen, I am ready," you're signing your name to God's letter, sealing it with faith. These steps are your bridge across the threshold, chosen one, and they're building a path to the abundance God has promised. But what about the moments when the path feels unsteady? You've had them. Days when doubt creeps in, when progress seems slow, when the vision feels like a flicker instead of a flame. Picture those moments as fog rolling across a mountain trail. It obscures the view, but it doesn't change the path. Your divine strategy is that path, laid out by a God who sees through the fog. Psalm 119:105 says, "Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path." God's promises are your lantern, chosen one, illuminating just enough for the next step. You don't need to see the whole trail, just trust the light you have. Your big moments are marked, and they're not dependent on perfect conditions. They're dependent on your willingness to keep walking. Let's talk about the relationships in your life, because they're part of this journey too. Imagine your connections as a constellation, each person a star in the sky of your destiny. Some stars shine brightly, guiding you with wisdom and love. Others flicker, their light dimmed by envy or misunderstanding. And a few might be black holes, pulling you into their chaos. Your job is to navigate this constellation with discernment, chosen one, choosing who gets to shine in your orbit. This isn't about judgment, it's about stewardship. Your heart is sacred ground, and not everyone is meant to walk there. But God is sending divine allies, people who see your light and celebrate it, who challenge you to grow without breaking you. These connections are part of your big moments, orchestrated to amplify your impact. If this message is igniting your soul, chosen one, type, "I am crossing my threshold" in the comments below. Let this be your bold declaration, a signal to heaven and this community that you're stepping into your divine destiny. Your voice is a star in our constellation, shining for others to find their way. Now, imagine a golden key, its surface etched with your name, glowing with the warmth of God's presence. That key unlocks the doors to your big moments, doors of opportunity, healing, and purpose. But the key only works when you turn it, chosen one, and turning it means facing the fears that have kept you locked out. Your spiritual awakening is the act of turning that key, not once but every day, with every choice to trust God's plan. Let's talk about the doors themselves, because they're not always what you expect. You might be picturing a grand entrance, adorned with jewels, swinging open to applause, but God's doors are often humble. A quiet opportunity, a small act of obedience, a moment of courage that feels insignificant at the time. Think of Ruth, a widow in a foreign land who simply chose to stay loyal to Naomi. That choice led her to a field, a man named Boaz, and a legacy that birthed King David. Her big moment wasn't a throne, it was a decision to keep going. Your doors are just as powerful, chosen one. Maybe it's a door to forgive someone who doesn't deserve it, to start a project that scares you, or to walk away from a situation that no longer serves your calling. Each door is a portal to your prosperous life, and God is holding the handle, waiting for you to step through. What about the baggage you're carrying? You know what I mean. Those regrets, those what-ifs, those moments when you wonder if you've missed your chance. Picture that baggage as a heavy cloak. Its fabric woven with threads of shame and doubt. It's kept you warm in the cold of uncertainty, but it's also weighing you down. God is inviting you to shed that cloak, chosen one, not because your past doesn't matter, but because it doesn't define you. Isaiah 61:7 says, "Instead of your shame you will receive a double portion, and instead of disgrace you will rejoice in your inheritance." Your big moments are your inheritance, and they're not tied to what you've done. They're tied to who you're becoming. Let's get practical again, because your faith is not a feeling, it's a force. Those 4 steps are your daily practice, your way of shedding that cloak and stepping lightly into God's plan. Maybe your goal this week is to write a letter to yourself, affirming your worth. Maybe your outreach is a call to a friend who's been on your mind, offering encouragement that could shift their path. Maybe your project is organizing one corner of your home, creating space for clarity. And when you declare, "I am chosen, I am ready," you're casting off the weight of doubt, letting your voice echo in heaven's courts. These steps are your rhythm, chosen one, and they're tuning your life to the frequency of divine provision. Imagine a river now, its waters rushing with purpose, carving through stone to create a canyon of beauty. That's your life, chosen one, a force of divine intention, shaping the world as it flows. Your big moments are the rapids, the places where the current surges, carrying you toward new horizons. But even in the calm stretches, the river is moving, working, preparing. Your fears, your doubts, your waiting, they're part of the river's work, eroding the obstacles that stand between you and your destiny. What if the next rapid is just round the bend? What if the fear you're facing is the current that will carry you to your greatest breakthrough? That river of your life, chosen one, is not just flowing. It's surging, alive with the power of God's purpose, carving a path through every obstacle to deliver you to the destiny He's marked for you. Imagine standing on the riverbank, the water sparkling under a sky ablaze with dawn, its current whispering your name, every fear you've faced, every tear you've shed, every moment you thought you were stuck. It's all been part of the river's work, shaping you into a vessel ready to carry the abundance of heaven. Your big moments are not distant dreams. They're here, now, rushing toward you like waves of divine provision. You're not just standing by the river, you're in it, moving with its flow. And God is guiding every twist and turn. Deuteronomy 31:8 says, "The Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Your big moments are marked, chosen one, and they're unfolding with every step you take. But let's talk about what it means to move with the river, because it's not always smooth sailing. Sometimes the current feels turbulent, pulling you through rapids of doubt or uncertainty. Maybe you're facing a decision that feels too big or a dream that seems out of reach. Picture those challenges as rocks in the river, jagged, unyielding, but not immovable. Your faith is the force that wears them down, smoothing their edges until they become stepping stones to your next breakthrough. I heard about a young man named Ethan from a small town in Michigan who dreamed of opening a community center for at-risk youth. He was terrified of fundraising, convinced he'd fail before he even started. But Ethan took one of those steps we talked about. He wrote down his goal and shared it with a local pastor. That conversation led to a small grant, then a volunteer team, and within a year, Ethan's center was serving dozens of kids. His fear was a rock, but his faith turned it into a foundation. What rock can you step over today, chosen one? Your 4 steps: writing a goal, reaching out, starting a project, declaring your faith, are your oars in this river. They keep you moving, steering you through the rapids toward the calm waters of your prosperous life. Maybe your goal this week is to map out a plan for paying off a debt, trusting God's provision to guide you. Maybe your outreach is a coffee meeting with someone who shares your vision, sparking a collaboration that changes everything. Maybe your project is writing 1 page of that idea you've carried for years, letting it take shape. And when you declare, "I am chosen, I am ready," you're not just rowing, you're commanding the current, aligning your spirit with heaven's flow. These steps are your rhythm, chosen one, and they're turning the river of your life into a channel of divine strategy. Now let's address the undercurrents. Those hidden fears that tug at you when you least expect it. Maybe it's the fear of being too much, of shining so brightly that others turn away. Or maybe it's the fear of not being enough, of stepping into your big moments only to fall short. Picture those fears as shadows beneath the water, fleeting and formless. They can't stop the river's flow, chosen one, because your life is anchored in a God who is unmovable. Psalm 46:5 says, "God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at break of day." Your spiritual awakening is not a moment of weakness, it's a moment of power where you recognize that the God within you is stronger than any shadow. You're not just surviving the current, you're shaping it, directing it toward the destiny God has marked. Let's talk about the horizon, because that's where your big moments are leading. Imagine it glowing with possibility, its colors vibrant with the promises of financial freedom, peace, and purpose. That horizon isn't a finish line, it's a beginning, a new chapter where your life becomes a testimony of God's faithfulness. Your big moments are not just about you. They're about the people watching, the ones who need your courage to find their own. Think of Esther, a young woman thrust into a palace, her life marked for a moment that would save a nation. She didn't feel ready, but she stepped forward, trusting God's timing. Esther 4:14 says, "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" You, chosen one, are in your royal position, not a throne, but a calling, and your big moments are for such a time as this. But what about the distractions along the river? The voices that say, "Slow down, play it safe. Don't dream too big." Picture them as branches floating on the surface, catching your attention but powerless to stop your flow. The world will tempt you to drift, to settle for a shallow stream instead of the deep waters of your divine purpose. Your job is to keep your eyes on the horizon, to stay focused on the vision God has planted in you. Those 4 steps are your anchor, keeping you steady when distractions swirl. Maybe your goal is to dedicate one evening to prayer, asking God for clarity. Maybe your outreach is a message to a colleague who can open a door. Maybe your project is sketching one idea that's been burning in your heart. And when you declare, I am chosen, I am ready, you're cutting through the branches, clearing the way for God's abundance to flow. If this message is setting your spirit ablaze, chosen one, type I am flowing with God's purpose in the comments below. Let this be your prophetic act, a declaration to heaven and this community that you're moving with the river of your destiny. Your words are a ripple touching lives you may never see. Now, imagine a waterfall ahead. Its roar echoing with the power of God's promises. That waterfall is your next big moment. A cascade of divine provision, clarity, and opportunity. It's not something to fear, it's something to embrace. Because you were made to navigate its power. Your faith journey has prepared you, not to be swept away, but to ride the current with confidence, knowing that God is steering you toward a life of overflowing blessings. Let's talk about the legacy you're building. Because your big moments are not just for today, they're for tomorrow, for the generations that will follow your footsteps. Picture your life as a tree, its roots deep in faith, its branches heavy with fruit. Every choice you make, every fear you overcome, is a seed planted for others to reap. Your wealth creation, your personal transformation, your divine strategy, they're not just for your comfort, they're for your call. I heard about a woman named Clara from a rural town in Alabama who faced the fear of public speaking to start a mentorship program for young women. Her small step, writing a mission statement, led to a community movement that empowered dozens. Clara's tree is still growing, its fruit feeding souls she'll never meet. What seed can you plant today, chosen one, that will shade others tomorrow? As we move closer to the waterfall, let's talk about the peace that carries you there. It's not the absence of challenges, but the presence of God's assurance. Imagine it as a gentle current beneath the river's surface, steadying you even when the waters churn. That peace is your birthright, chosen one, a gift from a God who has marked your big moments with his hand. John 16:33 says, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Your peace is not fragile, it's fortified. A shield that protects your heart as you step into the abundance God has prepared. Conclusion, chosen one. You've stood on the riverbank, felt the current of God's purpose, and heard the roar of the waterfall ahead. Your big moments are not just marked, they're manifesting, unfolding in ways that will leave you in awe of God's faithfulness. Those 4 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, starting a project, declaring your faith, are your oars, your compass, your lifeline. Keep them close because they're guiding you to a life where fear bows to faith, where lack surrenders to abundance, where your divine purpose shines like a beacon. If this message has stirred your soul, I invite you to join thousands of chosen souls by liking this video and subscribing to stay connected to your prosperous life. Your support through Super Thanks helps us carry this message of divine provision to more hearts, building a community of believers who walk in God's overflow. Type I am ready for my waterfall in the comments below and let heaven see your bold yes. Now, let's seal this moment with a sacred prayer, a holy communion with the God who marked your moments. Wherever you are, pause, breathe, and let your spirit lean into his presence. Heavenly Father, creator of heaven and earth, we come before you with hearts open, hands lifted, and souls ready. Thank you for marking our big moments, for seeing us in the desert, for guiding us through the rapids. You are Jehovah Jireh, our provider, and we trust your divine strategy. We release every fear, every doubt, every shadow that tried to dim our light. Fill us with your peace, anoint our steps, and align our hearts with your purpose. Let every goal we write, every outreach we make, every project we start, and every declaration we speak be a seed for your glory. Surround us with divine connections, protect us from distractions, and lead us to the waterfall of your abundance. We say yes to your plan, to your timing, to your overflow. In Jesus' name, Amen. Thank you, chosen one.